Star Wars The Last Jedi. Firstly, I know that I'm a bit late to the party, but better late than never. And secondly, holy shit is the internet divided about this movie. People are saying it ruined Star Wars, although they're forgetting about the prequels, or that it was the second best movie of the franchise because nothing can topple Empire Strikes Back. This debate has been going on for quite some time now, ever since the release of the movie actually, but which side is right? Is The Last Jedi redeemable, or should it be forgotten like the prequels? Or, thought to be forgotten like the prequels. First, a quick summary of the plot. The story takes place some time after The Force Awakens, with the Resistance fleeing their base planet with Poe and a squadron of pilots serving as a distraction. That is the first plot. We also have Rey, who just found Luke Skywalker and wants him to teach her how to use the Force, and that is plot 2. There are also a couple of subplots, but that's the summary. You can find that on Wikipedia. Now, why don't we start with the great things before we rant about the horrible moments and get frustrated about the fact that none of the fan theories were confirmed. Also, last chance to avoid spoilers, because we're diving headfirst into a pool of them. Moment number 1. Where's Han? There's so much left unspoken in this movie. Perhaps a little too much, but it makes the places where things are spoken that much more painful. When Rey first pleads with Luke to come back to Resistance because his sister has asked for him, he's immovable and unmoved. But Rey is persistent. She insists that he needs to get on the Falcon and return with them. And when Luke suddenly sees Chewie there alone, he utters 2 brutal words. Where's Han? 2 words, and Luke realizes that he's lost a family member and a dear friend, and he hadn't felt it. There are 2 words, and it's clear just how important Han Solo was to him, how much Luke counted on his continued presence in the universe as a reliable constant. 2 words and Han Solo dies all over again, and there is still no bringing him back. Moment number 2. Luke talks to R2-D2. When Rey meets Luke, she soon discovers that he wants nothing to do with her. There is a gruffness to the Jedi Master, and that has consumed him in years of exile. He's become cagey and difficult and downright cynical. In fact, he behaves a lot like Yoda did when they first met. It's hard to see glimmers of the Luke that we knew all those years ago in this jaded, broken man. But then he decides to board the Millennium Falcon for the first time in years. He finds his friend's old cockpit dice and pockets them. Then he sits down in the same spot where he sat after Ben Kenobi died, and the R2-D2 wakes up for not 20 feet from him. And that moment, R2's name passes his lips. Suddenly, he's former farm boy Luke Skywalker all over again. Time falls away, and you can hear that sweet young man in his voice and see that old brightness in his eyes. The fact that R2 tells him off for being gone, that he guilts Luke with a reminder of the very first time his sister ever requested his aid by virtue of her message to Ben Kenobi, cements this as the moment where Luke comes back to us, even just a little. He's reminded of being a boy who wanted to do something meaningful with his life and all the trappings that came with it. Old friends, his call to action, the first spaceship that ever took him away from home. It proves that he and Rey are not so different. It sets him on a path home. Number 3, Yoda. When his weirdly shiny CGI Force Ghost showed up, I was deeply worried that Yoda's appearance was going to ruin the whole film. Then he turned around in a puppet form, and Frank Oz's comforting tenor came through the theater speakers, and Master Yoda essentially saved this movie from its own dour schema. In Luke's fear and petulance, he makes a bid to wipe out all the old Jedi knowledge and their very first temple with it. And Yoda shrugs his shoulder. When Luke cannot go through with it, Yoda summons enough power from beyond the grave to strike the damn place with a lightning and set it ablaze. So what? He says. Were those books really all that great? I'd rather catch up with you. Yoda, in his now truly infinite wisdom, agrees that the Jedi as they functioned before didn't really work. He also acknowledges that teaching isn't about showing your students the right way to do things. It's also about exposing them to your own failures so that they don't have to replicate your errors. After all, Luke didn't make the same mistakes that Yoda and Obi-Wan did. He saw their failures and chose to make an entirely different ones. And on it goes because that is the nature of the Force. It doesn't have a correct answer. It is not a single state or idea or thought. But Yoda's sun landing in Luke's backyard is another signal. It's welcome mat in front of the door. Luke's former master is there to tell him, it's almost time, we've saved you a seat, there are so many people waiting to talk to you, it's time to let this all go. Number 4. Rey and Kylo Ren fighting side by side. Kylo Ren actually got some decent character development in this movie, including a gleeful scene where Snoke trashes him for being an entitled brat in a mask. And while the constant tug of war for his soul unsurprisingly leads to bad choices on his part, we do get a fantastic glimpse of what it would look like if Rey and Kylo truly pooled their power. The story mimics everything that we recall from Return of the Jedi. A salivating, overconfident monster who taunts the new kid in front of his loyal apprentice, then shows the good child her fleet of friends dying in a maelstrom of technological might. But instead of the apprentice crossing blades with the new recruits to teach them a lesson, Kylo Ren slaughters the old fool and has to team up with Rey to disperse Snoke's guards. The first choreography of that scene is something glorious to behold, and the two of them are a flurry of might, seamlessly integrating their knowledge and combined strengths to stop a team of highly trained combatants. It's like having a wish answered that you never voiced out loud. What if we have looked like if Vader and the combined forces of his son to dispatch the Emperor and his guards? Now we know, and it's incredible, even if it doesn't last that long. Number 5. Skywalker twins. For powerful siblings connected through the Force, we sure don't get to see Luke and Leia interact much. This continues to be the case despite the fact that they are a family and clearly love each other very dearly. It's one of my biggest peeves about Star Wars that has spanned the ages. It was largely true of the expanded universe novels. It has been true in the new novel so far. It's true in the films. Luke and Leia just don't get any time to be brother and sister, and given all the garbage the universe has piled on them, it's a state that seems cosmically unfair. Add to that Luke's guilt over failing Leia when her son turns to the dark side, and the whole thing is more depressing than ever. Their sudden reconnection once Luke reopens himself to the Force is not enough to bridge this terrible chasm. But then Luke makes his way across the galaxy in a feat of force-driven astral projection that is devastating to behold. Before we realize that is the case, all we know is that he has arrived on Crate, and the first thing he wants to do is talk to his sister. John Williams' Luke and Leia leitmotif plays in the background as Leia teases him and he apologizes, and for a moment it's just them. Luke and Leia, decades older and still in the desperate need of family, of someone who knows them this instinctively. And when Leia tells Luke that she knows her son is gone, Luke tells her, with the wisdom he earned since pulling their father out of an abyss and losing his nephew to the same darkness, no one's ever really gone. Then he gives her Han's dice as the theme fades over to Han and Leia's music, and he walks out to face Ben and gives his sister a fighting chance to live. Because they were born into destinies that neither of them got to choose, and they both deserve to have this instead. To just be Luke and Leia, not Jedi Grandmaster Luke Skywalker or General Princess Leia Organa. Now let's get into my two favorite moments. Luke Skywalker's final moment and General Holdo. First, the final moment. As with Han Solo, I figured it was coming in this film more than next, and I knew there was no way to prepare myself for it. There are so many fictional heroes out there to connect to, but it seems to me that there is always one in particular for everyone, one who means the world to you. Luke Skywalker is that hero to most people. They pretended to be him on the playground as a child. They learned to recite the Jedi code in a place of the pledge at school. They searched for every book they could find with him between the pages. He was a constant and a comforting figure that they relied upon, like a weird guardian angel, they could call up with the right novel or film, and they knew that he was going to he was going to be there forever. And while his final confrontation with Ben Solo was a miraculous sight to behold, a worthy feat of one of the greatest Jedi the galaxy has ever known, it really was nothing in the scheme of things. No, the most traumatic yet dazzling moment of the entire film is Luke Skywalker exhausted from the hardest trial of his life, tracking the horizon and finding absolute peace. The boy from Tatooine ends his journey precisely where it began, staring off into binary suns and wishing for something greater. It was a beautiful death, if such a thing can be said to exist. Oh, and let's not forget how Admiral Holdo, even though she was not that greatly used, goes into lightspeed through Supreme Leader Snoke's ship, cutting the thing in half. She's the hero the Resistance deserves, although she deserved much better. Also, her character could have been used better. Now that we got the positive stuff out of our way, let's get a little seriously pissed. Number 1 bad moment. Snoke is a nothing burger. Are you ready for the complaints? Because here is one. Snoke dies in the second act, and no backstory about the Supreme Leader is given. After bringing Rey to Snoke's throne, the leader arrogantly babbles to the girl of how he manipulated her, and Kylo Ren tells Rey that Kylo wasn't strong enough on his own, but does it right in front of his apprentice. Of course, Snoke tells Kylo to kill Rey, and cheesily narrates that he believes to be happening. It will happen. In reality, Kylo uses the Force to turn on the Skywalker lightsaber that's splitting directly next to Snoke. The Supreme Leader gets the Darth Maul treatment, splitting in half. One thing I liked was that I learned that Jedi can use the Force to light up a lightsaber. One thing I hate, yeah, it was nothing. He was basically used for nothing. It was just like the big bad to tease something, and that's it. We never learn who Snoke is or where he comes from. What are his motives, other than ruling the galaxy and killing Luke Skywalker? How did he get his powers? How did he get the training? We know that he is powerful. Like, seriously, how did he get the training? Is there another Sith Lord even more powerful than him? I have so many questions. Bad moment number 2. Rey's parents are a bust. The biggest and no doubt the worst part about The Last Jedi is how the reveal of Rey's parents is handled. J.J. Abrams said Rey's past as a massive secret, teasing it with her early in Force Awakens, when she says to BB-8, classified. Me too, big secret. Yeah. From there, it's implied that she is someone of importance. That she could be Obi-Wan's granddaughter. She could be Obi-Wan's daughter. She could be, I don't know, Mace Windu's cousin or something. You know, like something like that. So what's the big reveal? Rey's parents were degenerate junk dealers who traded her to Unkar Plut. Complete another nobodies. Ignoring how that clashes with so many moments from The Force Awakens, it leaves us with one massive question. Just exactly how does Rey fit into this story? Even the way the lines were delivered in the climatic moment seemed like nothing more than Johnson pointing and laughing at the fans. Oh, you thought Rey was that important? Haha, no. Bad moment number 3. No lightsaber fights. This is the first of the Star Wars saga. There were absolutely no lightsaber duels in The Last Jedi. There were scenes where lightsabers were used, and even one brief moment in a flashback where 2 lightsabers clashed against one another. But outside of that, absolutely nothing, which is pretty disappointing. The movie managed to have Luke, Rey, Kylo Ren, and Snoke in it without any of those characters actually dueling. Knights of Ren make no appearances despite having been mentioned prominently in The Force Awakens. Rogue One story had no lightsaber duels in it, but that made sense because nobody was a Jedi or a Sith. Speaking of the Knights of Ren, no Knights of Ren. Bad moment number 4. Another problem also stems from J.J. Abrams' Force Awakens. J.J. Abrams, from The Force Awakens. Knights of Ren were seen in the blink of an eye. and many hardcore Star Wars fans expected to see them featured more prominently in The Last Jedi, but sadly this is not the case. Instead, we get to see some more of Kylo Ren's moodiness and bashing his helmet, and after Papa Snoke tears him a new one after praising Hux. However, it's nice to see that Ren has graduated from the cure and gotten more 9-inch nails this time around. But again, where are the Knights of Ren? Why did Abrams tease them? Many thought that Snoke's Praetorian guards may have been the Knights of Ren, but that theory has been unfortunately debunked. Like fucking hell. Oh. Number 5. Canto Bite. One of the worst things about The Last Jedi is Canto Bite scenes. They seem out of place, almost like George Lucas directed them and had the scenes patched into the movie without telling anybody. From a weird drunken space leprechaun feeding BB-8 gold coins to some of the lamest inhabitants of an alien planet in the Star Wars universe. It's definitely the bathroom break portion of the movie, with the only saving grace being the introduction of Benicio del Toro's DJ character to the fold. Elsewhere, the fatheries have weird, almost human-like faces to prove how sad they are while some poor orphan kids clean up after them. Never mind BB-8 shooting gold coins out of himself like a bizarre machine gun, the whole scene that leads into Canto Bite turning into the nightmare of the movie is undoubtedly the parking violation. Rose and Finn get arrested for a parking ticket? Really? Not because they're in the Resistance? Not because, I don't know, he's black because he's the only black person in there? I mean seriously, why aren't there any black people in there? Like, for fuck's sake. Now, and then this can be real, and it truly looks like George Lucas wrote that into the script because it reeks of his style. Those fans griping that Lucas isn't represented in the Last Jedi, look no further than two main characters getting arrested for a parking violation at a casino. At a casino. It's just a plain lazy and not even humorous. Oh, and let's not forget about the chase scene. Number 6, Captain Phasma's return. Captain Phasma was promised to be a bigger character in The Last Jedi, and she clearly wasn't. At least she had more screen time than The Force Awakens, so that's something. But she dies in the worst way possible, not even seeing her fucking death. Are you kidding me right now? But the worst moment. Number 7, the milk scene. Why did we have to see where it comes from? Why did Luke make that face? Why did he enjoy it? I'm so disgusted, yet I have so many fucking questions. Like, for fuck's sake, did we really have to see where the blue milk came from? Or green, or whatever the color it was? Also, don't even get me started on Kylo Ren's 8-pack. That thing has become a meme, and there's even a comic that combines them. No, seriously. Just go like Kylo Ren milked by Luke, and you'll see it. God fucking damn it. All in all, it has great visual, stunning moments, and it's a new story, not a rehash of the original trilogy, like Force Awakens was. However, it was a letdown from the expectations. It was built up to be good, or slightly better than the prequels. Sorry, a lot better than the prequels, or slightly better than The Force Awakens. Instead, we got disappointed. That's it. It's disappointment. Some people hate Rose. I just say, meh. Fine. Like, just figure out something. Just figure it out. All in all, it has great visual, stunning moments, as I mentioned. But is it bad? No. I mean, it's definitely not the worst Star Wars movie. I mean, just look at The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and then, well, all the movies are good. Even this one's good. Well, I mean, The Return of Jedi is sort of a mixed bag, but you'll get there. Could it have been better? Yes, definitely. It had so much potential. Now I just fear that well, episode 9 is gonna suck. But this can be a good thing. Since the expectations are so low, maybe it's not gonna suck. Maybe we're not gonna be that disappointed. Who knows? I'm the Pop Culture Observer, signing out.